So in the comics he looks like this, and in the movie he looks like this. That's whitewashing. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Oh, sorry. You probably wanted to hear about the thoughts that the co-creator of New Mutants had to say, as well as the director comments. Let's get into it. Okay, so if we're going to talk about the New Mutants, I feel like if you don't know what it is, I'm going to have to give you a smidgen of an explanation. The New Mutants is an X-Men team consisting of several younger mutants. They're more like the next class after the giant-sized X-Men with Storm and Colossus. They were the next generation of mutants to be trained by Xavier, who at the time didn't really want to do it, but he saw these kids and he has an irresistible addiction to picking up orphans and making them child soldiers. So, you do what you do in your Charles. So the whole controversy that's kind of coming on right now is about one of the characters, Roberto da Costa, currently played by Henry Zaga in the New Mutants movie, and he's Brazilian, which is great. That's about it. Now, if I'm looking at my laptop, it's because of my notes. I'm gonna read directly what director Josh Boone said specifically about the casting and the characterization of the mutant. I'm just gonna quote this playlist.net article just for fun. I didn't care so much about the racism I've heard in Brazil about light-skinned versus dark-skinned. To me, I wanted to represent Brazil in a positive way, and I wanted to find someone who seems like he could be a guy who's had a silver spoon in his mouth, who has a really rich dad, and Henry just exemplified all those things. But wouldn't it be, Boone, wouldn't it be even cooler if it was an Afro-Brazilian who was like, yeah, I'm rich. Yeah, I've dealt with racism. Give some dimensionality to that character. And the fact that he said, oh, rich, I need a light-skinned Brazilian who's white passing, just shows that, while I recognize the racism there, I'm not going to make a commentary about it. I'm not going to try to change it or challenge it. I'm just going to say, oh, we need a rich person, so we're going to get a white passing Brazilian, not an Afro-Brazilian like originally in the comics, which sucks, but I mean, anybody who's complaining about these Fox X-Men movies not getting it comic accurate or adapting comic material well, you must be tired, because all of us have been doing that for years. What I think is weird is that he needs to be a rich silver spoon person. What does that have to do with him being light-skinned? He can still be dark-skinned, he can still be Afro-Brazilian, and still be rich. In fact, that's a point of contention, because he has to deal with racism, and when he finds out his father was a member of the Hellfire Club and did a lot of fucked up shit, he was like, Dad, what the hell? And his dad's response was, you don't know what I've had to do to get where I am. You could add so much dimensionality to the character of the father if he was ever going to be introduced, as well as the character of Da Costa himself. So it's just you just went around that. And it just really sucks, and it's really sad. So that was kind of the general comments from the director. So let's just jump to Bob McLeod real quick. Bob McLeod is kind of one of those really legendary comic artists who just really did a lot of great work. And I totally recommend you follow him on Twitter and all social medias. Just Google him. Google him for fun. And I'm just going to be reading straight verbatim from his Twitter. So here are the tweets right here. Now, he has a whole list of different things he disliked about the movie, which is great, but I'm just going to read the ones that pertain to our conversation. I was disappointed that Sam isn't tall and gawky, although I do like Charlie Heaton. But I was mainly very disappointed that Roberto isn't short and dark-skinned. Yet another example of Hollywood whitewashing. There is just no excuse. And you know what I think is interesting? Do you know what's interesting? You can give the argument that there are different interpretations of the character, and that, maybe he's been drawn lighter skinned in comics, and maybe give this interpretation a chance. When the person who co-created the character says that there's something inherently wrong with the portrayal, and specifically calls out the issue of whitewashing, maybe you should listen to him. What does he know? What does he know? He only co-created the New Mutants. So, yeah, I guess he doesn't know anything. right? Man, the coffee is great. I'm gonna do kind of a double quote, particularly from an own article. You can follow me at WordPress, Jacob Knight, JK at WordPress. Article down below. I'm just gonna quote myself. Medium called attention to the light-skinned casting of the character, writing that the erasure of Afro-Latinx in the United States and Latin America is evident when you look at someone like Gina Torres, an Afro-Cuban actress, who isn't cast to play Latinx in movies or TV shows, although she's Latinx. It is evident that when you look at telenovelas where there's white passing Latinx, they're portrayed as rich and well-educated, while Afro-Latinx are shown as lower class or are non-existent. And I don't know, it's just such a missed opportunity to just not represent the character correctly. Like, how cool would it have been? Because you just add more interesting stuff to do with the fact that, yeah, I'm rich, yeah, I'm black, I've dealt with so many different things, but you can still have the silver spoon and mouth angle and keep his heritage and still do something interesting with that, but instead they just side swerved on that and got a white passing actor. Now, I just want to say real quick, just to clarify things, when I say white passing, ethnically people can code switch, as in if they belong, just for example right now, if they're Latinx but they're lighter skinned, when they're with other Caucasian white people, they can code switch and present themselves as white. But when they're with Mexican Latinx families, they can present themselves as Mexican. People that automatically have darker skin cannot blend in with other people. They are always themselves, and thus are always subject to the prejudices of others. So when you hire a lighter skinned actress who's white passing, that's not saying, how dare you be light skinned? That has nothing to do with them. It's the fact that society says, hey, this person can inherently live in both worlds and do better than you, and they already have a better head start societally than you do if you have darker skin. And that's just sad. Isn't that sad? So if you want to read I wrote a whole thing, so I wrote it on my WordPress. So if you want to read it, link down below. Hey, so what do you think of this video? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you totally disagree with me? Am I an idiot? Let me know in the comments down below. I always post Wednesdays and Sundays, but I just felt like I had to bring up this topic, so here I am. My brick backdrop. Alright, don't forget to don't like and don't subscribe, but please comment. I'll see you later. While I'm filming, look at my dog, Ruby.